We are in the home stretch of the 2024 campaign season with voters heading to the polls on Tuesday. Join us now for a look at the mood of the country ahead of the election. Harvard University's Arthur Brooks, American Enterprise Institute President Emeritus. He's a columnist for The Atlantic, a podcast host, and author of Build the Life You Want. Thanks for joining us.
Nice to see you.
And you point out that we're almost there, and that the mood is, you would characterize it as somewhat dark, but we really should put it in perspective.
Yeah.
It's election. It doesn't directly impact our day-to-day lives like family matters and work matters and everything else. So you need to keep it in perspective. But when I look at the big picture, I think of previous periods, Arthur, that periods of complete tumult followed by some really good periods of togetherness and a feeling of that the country is together. It's happened before. I don't remember the Eisenhower years, but I was close enough. I think I was born in that. And then I remember the 70s, the 60s, 70s that were so tumultuous. But then I remember the 80s.
Right. We go through these things. I mean, this is just the way that this works. And look, there are no elections that are not bitter. This is how competition works, and we have to keep this in perspective. We, as Americans, we're so lucky because we live in a culture characterized by competition, and we love it. The free enterprise system brings us wonderful things in innovation and what we talk about on Squawk Box. That's because of competition. In politics, we call it democracy. We don't want uncontested elections and 20-year runs with nobody actually running for office. And the cost of that is that we disagree with each other. I want more of this, you want more of that, and we duke it out is the way that it comes. Now, the key thing is not letting it ruin your life, is remembering what really matters is not the competition, but what you go home to, which is the love of your family, love of God, the things that we really care about. Those are the non-competitive spaces. We can't let that get crowded out.
I mean, there are people that, like my son will tell me how bad certain things about the Reagan years. When I go, son, someone read a chapter. They didn't
in a history book.
In a history book, and that's what they came. And maybe there were certain people, certain pockets of society that didn't do well. But as I remember the 80s and 90s and even the Bill Clinton 90s, that was a time that didn't seem like now. And I'm wondering if we ever really can get back to that with how crazy there's a lot of things in society are right now. And people have said the things that we used to think were awful are now accepted. Things that we used to were accepted, we now think are awful. It's almost upside down. Will that ever go back to normal?
That dynamic has always been the case, where things are turning upside down one after the other, and we look back with a little bit more fondness. There's a phenomenon in social psychology called fading affect bias. That's where you learn from the past, and so you remember it as better than it was. In the 80s, my parents, I grew up in a left-wing household in Seattle, and my parents thought that Ronald Reagan was going to get Granny kicked out into the snow and get us into a nuclear war, and now those are the golden years.
It always depends on your perspective.
Yes.
If you were somebody in the 80s who lost your job, who got shut down in industries.
That happened happened in the late 70s and early 80s. But after that, everything went better.
But there was Iran-Contra, which was a real scandal. I mean, people felt really bad about it as the bottom line. Here's the thing for us to keep in mind. We've gone through worse. We will go through worse. We'll have times of relative quiet compared to this, but America keeps going. Markets keep working. Democracy keeps working. We still have our families. We still have these beautiful things, and everybody still wants to come.
I'm not optimistic for 4 years, Arthur. If it's Trump, there's going to be half of this country's going to be. I don't know.
Agreed.
Half this country's going to be mad either way.
And the other way, it will too. But half the country's going to leave the United States, supposedly, if Trump gets.
Yeah, but no.
But here's my question, though. Is it different this time? What is the difference of social media and riling up the extremes on both sides and feeding you what you think or what you're predisposed to think, and then amping you up on whatever those thoughts are? Because
so what's happening is that we are
antagonistic feelings.
For sure. What's happening is that we're overdosing on information. So we're information binging. That's what happens when we have the screen in our pockets, not just social media, but the screen, which is ever present.
True.
I mean, watch TV in the morning, get it done, read the newspaper, and go on with your day. That's the healthy way to do this. And so the way that all of us can be happier. Look, this is not unprecedented, the bitterness that we're feeling. America is actually going to be fine. The problem is the cost of this is that the information binging is leading us to be less happy than we could be. taking it more seriously than we actually should, thinking that what's going on in Washington, D.C., that's really going to affect your life.
Can you explain this? If you look at some of these studies and polls, a decade, even 2 decades ago, 20% of Americans actually thought that whoever the president was mattered to them personally. Today, the number's like 60 or 70% in this sort of uniquely tribal situation. What is that people have decided? If 2 decades ago people thought the president, it's fine, whoever it is, I can survive. It's not going to change their life so materially, and now believe that it is going to change their life so materially, even though the statistics would suggest, I would imagine, or hopefully, that maybe it won't. Though I know with this particular election, there are people who genuinely believe it could change their life. And by the way, actually, maybe there's an argument to be made that actually it could change your life.
Very few people, that's the case. For the vast majority of Americans, what can change your life, not dramatically, but somewhat, is local politics, local action, what's happening in your community. And that's exactly what people are not getting involved with. So what happens with the ever-present media in everybody's face all the time is they start to believe that citizenship means being sufficiently outraged about what's going on in Washington, D.C. That's wrong. That's not citizenship. So what's happening is we have this information overload. So whereas 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 20% of people would say, this really matters a lot. Most people say, it's politics. I want one person to win. And by the way, in the 80s, people were really, really upset when their person didn't win. They just didn't see it all day long. And so they weren't being tortured by this constantly, being given this idea that if they don't pay sufficient attention, something might go wrong. That's what happens when you binge media.
But isn't part of what's happening?
But both sides have the things that they're most worried about. There's people worried about reproductive rights, and on the other hand, there's people worried that their cities are being overrun by people that are paying to live in hotels.
So it's actually where I was going to go with this.
And then there's crime
in a very interesting way.
With inflation, their paychecks don't go.
But that's where I was going to go with this. To me, the distinction, and maybe is that there is a greater impact on a very local basis. Meaning, if you are a woman today, that's a very local issue for you. And I'm not talking about state
I knew
issues.
you were talking about that.
That's a real issue that demonstrably has changed your life. Hold on. But the other distinction is taxes. So taxes impact your wallet. Right. It used to be that the debate was between 35% and 37% or 33%. I mean, we were talking about sort of marginal differences, right? Right. Now we are into a whole other landscape where the distinction between what people think is both acceptable and what one side is asking for and what the other side is asking for are like night and day. And that actually, I think, is a real thing to people.
Well, we got to keep this in perspective. People were really, really worried about abortion rights in the 1980s and 1990s. They absolutely were. And they were talking about it in the very same way. And groups were fundraising on this. They're going to take away your rights forever. That's how they were talking about it. Now, what happens is we tend to coalesce around certain sets of values and policies that most people want. Taxes. Taxes were wacky if you go back to the 1950s and 1960s with 90% marginal rates and crazy carve-outs. And if you had a creative accountant, you didn't have to pay it. And now simply what's going on is that we're going back. We've had this relative period of consensus around 37,
Arthur,
39.
10 cities in some of our greatest, formerly greatest cities.
Yes.
And, in a drugstore, you need to ask someone to come over to open up the razor blades so that you take them. There is a lot of crime, a lot of...
There is, but if you're living where most people live around the country, the CVS is the CVS. It's the same as it was last year. Most people, what's going on, people are really upset because they see images of something far away.
So that's social media again.
Not just social media, it's too much of everything. Look, here's the deal. We're going to have an election. For half the country, it's going to be a bummer. For half the country, it's going to be a relief. Got it. What do you do today? Turn off media. Go love your kids. Call a friend. Say your prayers. Do the stuff that's always been there, that always should be there. Exercise, because your life is your life. And then say, God bless America, where we can have these crazy elections and we can have these arguments, but no matter what, I've still got my family, I've still got my job.